Hey guys, welcome to another episode. Today I will be installing, you'd think I'd be a little bit better prepared, I'm out in my garage, can't tell that already, but today we'll be installing these nifty off-road lights onto my quad. Was out on my last ride. Some of you guys may have seen it, and got a late start. I was coming back to the to the starting point to where my van was parked, and it got a little dark. And it was the first time I fired up the the stock lights on my ATV and found out that they were pretty much next to worthless. So I needed a set of off-road lights. And I didn't really want to pay a whole lot of money for them because they're on an ATV, you know what I mean? Like they could get broken. You know, one could argue that you could spend a lot of money and you'll get a better light, and that they'd be more durable and wouldn't have any problems with them. And that's one way to look at it. But the way that I looked at it was, I need something quick and easy. Maybe later on, if this doesn't work out, I'll buy some more expensive lights. On previous quads, I bought lights made by a company called Rigid, which is, don't quote me on this off the top of my head, but I want to say that they're an American company, and the lights are outstanding. I never had any trouble. Had them for years on my quad, and beat the snot out of them. Never had a lick of trouble with them. Fantastic lights, and this was, few years back. A company reached out to me coincidentally while I was searching for lights. Sometimes that just happens, it just works out that way. They contacted me and asked me if I'd want to review these, and I was like, yeah. I was going to buy some reasonably priced lights anyway. I mean, I probably wouldn't have bought ones this big. These are I believe I have to look that up. When we do the closeout, once we get these things working, and then I tell you how they work and stuff, I'll get some of the specifics on them. But they're pretty good size. They're, I don't know, that looks to be a good 5 inches across. I don't really need a light this big for my ATV, but I was like, might as well. There's going to be pluses and minuses to these more inexpensive lights. And we'll talk about that as soon as I'm done installing them, and I'll have a better idea of what I'm looking at. Talk at you in a few minutes, which will be like 1 second to you guys. Okay, just wanted to mention the lights. They don't come with, as I'm installing, I'm just kind of updating you guys as I go, kind of thing. Wasn't planning on doing it, just happened. There's no wiring harness or anything with the lights to install them. They're just the lights. And where did I put it? And then at the end of the light, it's just terminated with a all at one time here, but it's just terminated with wires like that. So I needed a way to safely wire them to my ATV, so I purchased a wiring harness. And now this wiring harness was 15 bucks. It wasn't very much for low powered lights, that don't draw a lot of current. This is good up to I don't know, 20 amps I thought, but judging by the wires, I don't think that that's true. I think that's what was advertised. But anyway, okay, so we have the wires that will go to the lights themselves. Right here, right there, there's the lights themselves. And then, okay, so that goes down. Here is the power switch. So we'll wire the power switch up. That looks like it's lighted. And then it goes down, goes down to where we have a relay. Yep, 40 amp 12 volt relay, and where it plugs into the battery of the ATV. and waterproof fuse holder. So this should make it a lot easier than me doing all the wiring myself from scratch. So I'll just try and fish all this through the ATV and get it wired up, and I'll be back with you in a minute. Hey guys, just wanted to get back with you real quick. I installed the lights. I still have to zip tie the wires. I have to drill a hole for the switch, but just wanted to kind of give you a real quick look at them real fast. That's like double fast. But as soon as it gets dark, we're pretty close. It's like maybe half an hour from pitch black darkness. So what I'll do is, as soon as it gets super dark, I will back the quad out onto the side of the property here and turn these lights on and see if they make a big difference or not. So we'll do that. As far as the installation, one of the standouts was this little cheap kit right here that I paid like $12 for. I'll put a link in the description along with the link to the description for the lights and everything, but so you can buy whatever you want out of this deal here. But this was a standout item. Perfect length. All the connectors were there. Good quality. It worked perfectly. Real quick and easy way to do things. So I really liked this. The wiring kit was pretty good. The lights, for the money, my initial impressions after installing them and doing everything, adjusting them and all of that is that, are they as good as a top name brand, American made light like Rigid or something like that? No, of course not. Those are 10 times the price. So will these get you by? In most cases, yes. They definitely will probably get you by in almost every case. As far as how long will they last on a quad, which is something that's this vehicle here, is if they can withstand this vehicle an ATV UTV situation, then I'm going to be pretty impressed. But only time will tell. I'll have to report back on that kind of thing. Well, you'll be following my videos anyway. I mean, if I'm out on a ride and one of these falls off in the ground or doesn't work when it's supposed to, you're going to find out right away. But for what these things cost, it's hard to not buy them. I mean, for what these things cost, they do what they're supposed to. They do exactly what a more expensive light would do. We'll check out tonight when they get dark. We'll check them out, but let me show them to you. All right, so you can kind of see them, here on the front of the quad, mounted to the front of the quad. They work real well. I'll turn them on for you. But that's with them on. And of course, you probably don't want to have them on while the quad's not running, but they work. They work well. The biggest complaint that I have, or the biggest nitpick that I have, is the mount. I think the mount could definitely be better. Better in the fact that it's really a pain to adjust these lights. The screws are down here on the bottom, where you can't get to them, and adjusting them up and down was horrible. You got to loosen the bolt here, turn them sideways, make your adjustment, turn them back, tighten them back up. I mean, just way more difficult than it needs to be. The mounts are adequate as far as strength, but as far as convenience, they're not convenient. I guess the plus side is generally speaking, you're only going to adjust these one time. You're going to set them where there's where you want them, and then that's going to be it. So I guess that's something to consider. But I definitely know that previous lights that I've installed in the past are the mounts are much better than this as far as convenience and whatnot. But they do work. They look like they're adequately strong, and you know, again, we'll find out. But let me get back to you in a few minutes with the beam shots as soon as it gets dark tonight. Talk to you in a minute. Okay, everybody. Here we are. We're going to test these lights out. Go over here into this dark area. This is in the way here. Let me turning the handlebars here. Okay. So let's see here. This is the normal lights. As soon as I find the switch, there it is. That is low. There's the high beams right there. So high beams, low beams, and off. And these are the new lights. And yeah, that's quite a bit brighter. Take a look again. Let's turn these off. Here's low beams, which I had a recent experience with these lights in actual use. That's why this all started, and they are particularly worthless. And here is the high beams, and it looks like the high beams, when you switch them to the high beams, the element points more up in the air, and I found that to be true when I was using them. I couldn't really see what was in front of the quad worth of crap. Okay, so here's low, here's off, and here's the new lights. Yeah, that looks to me to be a pretty significant difference, in my opinion, right there. That is a pretty huge improvement, in my opinion. Okay, now what happens if we turn them all on? That's lights on the quad on high, and the new lights as well. So that's gonna get me down the trail just fine, I'm thinking. Here's with the new lights off. That's the high beams on the quad. That's with the new lights back on. So humongous difference. I'm very happy with that for sure, no doubt about it. For the price of these things, I just don't see how you go wrong. I'm gonna have to give them a recommend as of now, as long as they hold up, and I will report back on that fact in the near future. And I'm gonna go ahead and put everything away and get ready for dinner. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you on the next one on that end.